guest is around the corner, Ilya Reikhrud with Gulpfish, an intuitive-based employment app that hooks up job seekers with people looking for employment and employers looking for employees.
Hey, pleasure to meet you.
Ilya, thanks for coming in today.
Right.
I appreciate your coming in to tell the story about Gulpfish, which you started in 2010.
Correct.
And was it always an intuitive system to hook up job seekers with employers? Because that's sort of the lingo. So how did this come to be?
So it was actually a tuna fishing trip. So we were tuna fishing, and it took a lot of planning. It took a lot of education to catch tuna. I don't know if you've caught tuna before, but it takes, sometimes months of planning. You might go out one time, you might not catch a fish at all. So the four of us journeyed out off of Block Island, and we did our education. We studied the plankton bloom, we studied the fishing charts, we studied techniques, we bought gear, we went out, and we caught four tuna within the first hour and a half. So kind of thinking about what happened and how we did this, it was all about education at the same time. The market for jobs was terrible back in 2009, 2010. So I thought, hey, why don't we just start a business and get a nifty name for a website and do something related to jobs? Mm-hmm. So there was no intuition as far as what the process is. It was all on paper. But then the Apple iPhone came out and the iPad came out, and we thought, wow, this would be really cool to present to somebody. What if you could do all the process on your little mobile device? It would be incredible. So there, the journey began. The
journey began in 2010. And did you have an idea for areas? Did you cast a wide net, so to speak? The allegories just write themselves here with having gone from the fishing trip to Gulpfish. But when you started out, what did you envision? All jobs, specific sectors. What did you want to target?
So we wanted to target, or I wanted to target the food, beverage, hospitality industry. Only because the food, beverage, hospitality industry, you start when you're 15 and a half, and sometimes it's a lifelong career. So as a business perspective, you want to start a business where you can grow it over time and have the same audience come back to your business through their levels of development. So because of the unemployment rate being so high, I think it was like 9-10% in 2010, the employers, the food, beverage, and hospitality workers, and their bosses, they were all struggling for staff, all the proper staff. So we created a system where the average employer can harvest a large group of applicants, and the applicants have an opportunity to apply to their jobs, basically.
I'm going to bring you just a little bit closer to let you scoot away over here. And location-wise, talk to us about the net that you've cast. I mean, who can take advantage of this application?
So it's a Rhode Island-based company. We started in Rhode Island. We have close to 9% of Rhode Island's population on the Gulpfish website. There's quite a bit of people on the site.
Wow.
So we are in 23 states, 220 cities around the country. But it all started here in Rhode Island. Most of our employers and the companies that we deal with are franchises. So if you can imagine, a franchise has a location in New Hampshire, Florida, New York, Connecticut. We're already seated and we're in those markets right off the bat.
So is that how you envisioned it when it kicked off? You said, if we could replicate this, there's so many parallels I'm going to want to talk about with us here and your ideas. Did you say, I want to franchise this? I know I want to franchise this off the bat.
That vision was not there at all. It kind of came upon with one of our first big franchise employers, the Jan companies. As you know, they have all the country clubs, Quincy Country Club, over 90 Burger King restaurants. So we were fortunate enough to have a partnership with them where we service all of their locations, which is close to 100 plus locations. And they actually helped us pave the way to different states and different markets.
And tell us a little bit about the Ilya story, how you came to start. What were you doing before Gulpfish?
So anesthesia. So I'm a certified registered nurse anesthetist. I currently am. I work more minimal hours than I do Gulpfish. So I put people to sleep. I wake them up and send them on their way. And again, so the fishing story was prior to me getting into technology. It was something that I had a passion for, to be an entrepreneur, and it kind of fell in my lap.
And talk to us, people say, oh, there's maybe other job sites. Talk to us the differentiation between a Gulpfish and a Monster, those Indeeds or the other ones that you hear about.
Sure. So Gulpfish is an applicant engagement platform first. So basically, our whole goal is to connect a job seeker with the employer directly without any other third-party software, third-party website that they have to go through. So basically, if you apply to a job on Gulpfish, you're applying directly with that person that listed that job. So you have direct communication with that person through your cell phone or text messaging.
And then what do you hear from employers? You list in a number of very impressive big name companies. Talk with us about those relationships, how they've engaged with Gulpfish.
So their engagement is absolutely huge. For instance, if you could picture a franchise that has 20, 30 locations, we set up a platform for that employer to manage all of their locations under one umbrella. We give access to all of the managers of that franchise to have their own pool of applicants. So it takes a lot of stress out of the HR department's hands and puts it kind of spreads it out across the organization to the actual managers that are building these teams, which is the most important thing you can do. So they've actually embraced it. They've been using it for quite some time. Most of the employers that we acquired over the past 4 or 5 years still use Gulpfish. We lost very minimal employers. So it's been working out great.
And so we're here in 2017. Obviously, when you started in 2010, talk with us about the difference between what you would have seen going on Gulpfish in 2010 and maybe what you'd see if you went on Gulpfish today. So
there's a huge difference. The first and foremost is it's mobile first. So we want to make sure that an applicant, when they apply to a job, the employer immediately gets a notification to their cell phone or their email within seconds. The employers typically reply within a few minutes of their applicant's request, and the engagement happens. The focus is on the engagement. So if you lose the interest, even if you don't reply to the applicant within the hour, the applicant disappears, they go somewhere else. If you think of what technology has done to somebody's motivation, so now there's Tinder, if you're dating, right?
Just keep swiping.
So you keep swiping. So the same mindset is coming upon with jobs. So the unemployment rate is like 4.4%. So if they're not happy at their job, if they can't use their cell phone on their job, they'll just go somewhere else. They're just out of there. It's because the mindset and the millennial generation is more focused on lifestyle, vacationing, foodies, a ton of foodies now. It's more important to have more free time and to do the things that you enjoy. So it's very easy for them to use Gulpfish to seek out different employers really quickly.
And that cater to their schedule.
Correct.
Interesting. So talk with us a little bit about where you see it going. And we talk about 10 to 17, but what's the next 7 years?
So the next 7 years are pretty exciting. We just launched a brand new product 3 days ago where it incentivizes job seekers with like little referral sign-on bonuses to their new jobs. So if you're starting work at Burger King, Taco Bell, the Dunkin' Donuts, that's enough money for a new outfit, a new pair of sneakers. Just to kind of get them motivated to share the jobs. We actually pay them out some free cash. And in the future, as we're working with some M&A firms now to actually take the Gulpfish brand in the process and expand it upon another company, such as like an Open Table that has already seeded the market across the country to use the platform for another adjacent service to their already existing brand. So there's a lot of exciting things going on in that regard, and in our personal growth has been pretty tremendous.
So talk with us here. Give us a little bit maybe about the business model. How do you make money?
So the business model. So anybody can have an account on Gulpfish for free, especially job seekers. It's 100% free. Employers can have a free account with Gulpfish, be in our directory. Typically, the employer will pay us on a monthly basis on a service, a full unlimited account, which will allow them to list unlimited jobs, unlimited advertising, a lot of content generating promotions for them. We go out to social media, we promote the jobs. And so it's a monthly revenue generating process, and also we have different kind of engagement campaigns we do for them for open houses and that sort of thing.
Have you raised any capital for it?
So it's private. So we have 12 awesome private angels. So these angels are, they don't really participate too much in the business except a few. So it gave us enough capital to start up, and we've been generating revenue right from the first year in operation. So the revenue generating has paid for Gulpfish and its expansion. We have not seeked out VC capital. We do not want to go that route. So we're looking to double revenue this coming 2017 close over last year. So it's grown 100% so far.
So you've got the angel investors. So any need to eye any sort of state involvement, any state incentives at all, or are you just doing it all on your own?
So far, all on our own. We did not get involved with any state grants, any state funding. The revenue has been keeping it afloat and funding the programming that we've needed over the years.
Very good. So it sounds like a great model. And talk a little bit about the hospitality industry. You said 9% of Rhode Island is on Gulpfish. I mean, It's such a big industry. There must be a lot of turnover, and that seems to fit hand in hand if there's going to be a lot of jobs coming open, being able to fill it quickly.
Correct. So, good question. So Rhode Island in particular, the unemployment is like 4.4%. However, the employers are still struggling to staff their locations. If you can imagine, just 2-3 years ago, an average employee that would start work would last an entire year before they quit or went somewhere else. Now it's 6 months. So it's 6 months from the time you fill out an application to the time you leave, and it's creating a big crisis in the food, beverage, hospitality industry. People don't realize how much money it really costs to bring on a brand new employee, train them, for them just to leave in a few minutes. And again, this is all because of these mobile apps that make everything so easy. And if the employment is not easy, people just leave. Rhode Island being a college state, you have people coming into college, you have people leaving college, you have people coming in and out of the city so frequently they need work, they need to leave work, they need seasonal jobs in Newport, right? So big hiring happens in March, December, January, February, March. And then those kids go to college and they go away, and the same thing happens again in September. Very transitional. So I would say that the attrition rate is just causing big problems for employees, and we have an awesome solution.
But where there's a problem, there's a solution, and that's what entrepreneurs do. And you're a Pawtucket native, and we always like to talk about the Rhode Island success stories. Did you always want to stay here? Was there ever any sense that you wanted to go elsewhere? Why setting up the roots here?
Oh, Rhode Island. As you know, Rhode Island's not the friendliest place to have a business because of the taxes and fees. However, it's the best place to live. I mean, you have Newport right around the corner. You have the mountains. You have the suburbs. You have such a diverse, population of people. I could not picture myself living anywhere else. I was just in California a few weeks ago, in Manhattan, about a month ago. And Rhode Island is just such a wonderful place.
So you're Rhode Island through and through.
Forever, yeah.
And you're going to continue to grow Gulpfish. Look for those opportunities for the partnerships, strategic partnerships.
Correct.
So do we expect to see you back here in studio and maybe the coming months with some new announcements?
Sure. Yeah, we just launched a product just a few days ago, and I'm sure in about a month's time we'll have a good sense of how successful it has been. And there's a few other things in the works that I would kind of keep them private. But I'm sure there'll be a lot of things to talk about in the coming months.
Well, keep them private, but when you're ready to bring them public, this is the place to come bring it here to Go Local. So, Ilya, I appreciate your coming in today to tell your story. Anything else you want to let viewers know while you're here, or give any shout-outs?
Yeah, sure. So the shout-outs go out to every company that uses Gulpfish. You know who you are. It's the Burger Kings, Dunkin' Donuts, Taco Bells. It's half of the Federal Hill restaurants, Thayer Street, look around Providence. And if you go through the drive-thrus, any of the Dunkin' Donuts or Taco Bells or Burger Kings around the city in Warwick, Cranston, some in Providence. If you see a sticker with a fish on it, take a picture of it, put it on Facebook. We'll give you a little gift card for doing so. So there's thousands of those stickers laying around people's windows.
Look for the Gulpfish sticker.
The Gulpfish sticker.
Well, fantastic.
Then, we'd love to have all of Rhode Island companies on board. It's not limited to food, beverage, hospitality. It's actually every industry can be on it. You just benefit from the applicant flow that happens every day.
Yeah, you see that. You go to the landing page and it's, the pretty downtown, river kind of vista. Rhode Island centric for Rhode Island employers, Rhode Island employees. Again, started in 10. Here we are in 17. Sky's the limit.
Thank you so
Ilya
much.
Reikhrud, thank you for
It's a
coming in
pleasure.
today.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll talk soon.
All right, take
Okay.
care. Bye-bye.
Ilya Reikhrud with Gulpfish. It's the application that matches job seekers with employers, really focused right now on the Rhode Island hospitality industry, but great talking with them about the potential for growth, franchised around the country, looking to engage in some strategic partnerships, and said just announced a new incentive program for employees who are seeking, so sounds like they are off to the races, so to speak. Again, a great Rhode Island business. Glad that we were able to have them in here in the Navigate Credit Union.